a manufacturing machine throws a sudden error code, and the quality assurance team immediately swarms the console. Fixing the immediate issue gets production moving again, but treating only the surface symptom is a dangerous liability. That is where root cause analysis comes in. It forces investigators to move past the initial observation of what happened and relentlessly pursue a different question. Why did it happen? We use this structural framework for 3 reasons: to ensure corrective and preventative actions actually work, to improve overall process reliability, and to solidify good manufacturing practice compliance. Without isolating the true origin of a defect, the underlying flaw remains embedded in the system, waiting to repeat. Look at this lab interface. When a stable trend line suddenly spikes into a flashing out-of-specification or OOS zone, an investigation is triggered. We follow the same protocol for out-of-trend statistical anomalies. Operations also require a formal investigation when dealing with external or mechanical pressures, like customer complaints, product recalls, or sudden equipment breakdowns. And during an audit, any regulatory findings that expose gaps in data integrity or compliance demand the exact same rigorous breakdown. These alerts are mandatory signals. They require us to deploy the investigative framework before a localized error becomes a systemic crisis. This process map shows the sequential RCA sequence. First, we define the problem and collect data. Next, we analyze variables to identify the true root cause. Finally, we implement corrective and preventative actions and verify the fix holds. Adhering to this strict linear sequence forces investigators to rely on data, preventing anyone from jumping to assumption-based conclusions. Looking at the 5 why section, you see a simple logic path. By repeatedly asking why, we drill past surface symptoms down to the actual origin. Alternatively, the fishbone diagram maps out multiple competing variables simultaneously, categorizing them into man, machine, method, and material. This Pareto chart illustrates the 80-20 rule. When overwhelmed by data, the chart populates frequency bars to isolate the vital few factors causing the vast majority of our errors. For predicting failures, we use failure mode and effects analysis. This proactive matrix scores potential failures and risks before they ever occur. And when dealing with highly complex multi-system equipment breakdowns, fault tree analysis provides the logical tracing required to untangle the mess. The complexity of the failure dictates the tool used. No single analytical lens can diagnose every manufacturing issue. Let's apply this to a real scenario. A batch of pharmaceutical tablets inexplicably fails the routine physical hardness test, shattering into powder under pressure. Our investigation log reveals the first step, verifying the machine's calibration. With that cleared, data points to the true root cause: excess granulation moisture. The team implements an immediate corrective action by adjusting drying time, then secures the process permanently by revising the SOP. By identifying the root process flaw, rather than just throwing away the bad pills, the team permanently inoculated the production line against this specific failure. Effective RCA replaces reactive firefighting with a proactive, predictive quality control strategy. This graph illustrates the compounding effect of eliminating root causes. Over time, process deviations drop toward 0, while overall process stability steadily climbs. A documented, systematic RCA process produces traceable, audit-ready records that support GMP compliance. It acts as the backbone of continuous improvement, actively protecting patient safety and the organization's operational integrity. Root cause analysis centers on identifying systemic gaps rather than assigning individual blame. By focusing on the data, investigators treat every failure as an opportunity to build a more resilient system. True quality assurance treats every single failure as an opportunity to build a stronger, more resilient manufacturing ecosystem. To continue building your pharmaceutical QA and GMP expertise, subscribe to the channel. Fix the true root cause, and you permanently prevent the problem.